When did you forget that you're part of something bigger? When did that happen? Do you remember when you were a kid? You used to say, my address is number something, my road, my town. My accent's coming back, my West Midlands accent. My town, my country, my planet, England, the Earth, the solar system, the Milky Way, the universe. So in that childish way, I was demonstrating that I knew that I was part of everything. But at some point, many of us, we become isolated and identified with ourselves and our goals and what we're trying to achieve in the world and how we should be for other people and how we want other people to be for us. And we see ourselves as this separate entity with a boundary where information crosses the boundary. Relationships that we're in are about who we are and who they are and what we do in those relationships. We lose the sense that we are an interwoven fragment of something bigger. It's not only your street, your town, it's your family. Could be your workplace. Hopefully you've got purposeful work that you enjoy and a team that you love being in and you feel dedicated to the cause and you want to be depended on and you can depend on others. But it isn't always that way. Quite often we're grinding out our days to earn money, to keep a roof over our head, to pay our bills. I've just paid a fine for not taxing my car because I thought that I had a direct debit set up. Evidently I don't, so my car ended up being clamped and then I paid to remove the clamp, and then I got a letter a couple of weeks later to say that I'd been fined for breaking the law and I could settle out of court, and if I didn't I would go to court and I would have £1,000 fine and da-da-da-da-da. Little wonder that we feel separate when, instead of a knock on the door saying, Simon, did you realise your car isn't being taxed, something's gone wrong with the automated arrangement, what happens is I get a letter telling me I'm lucky my car hasn't been crushed. So the invitation is to live in a world governed by rules and regulations and processes and procedures and ought tos and shoulds, and to not see each other as people, and by not seeing each other as people, to see myself as an isolated person. But no man is an island. Do you remember there's a poem? Someone who was very ill, I think, wrote a lot of reflections. Was his name John Donne? Where is that coming from? John Donne, writing while ill about the interconnectedness of everything and how harm to one or the death of one is harm to oneself, or is a death of oneself. For whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee, was the line, I think. When something happens, when a death happens, that's to do with you. And it's not only the death side, is it? It's the upside as well. When there's music to be made, that's your music to make. When there's dancing to be danced, that's your dance to dance. And dancing and music are so much better when we group together to do it, don't you think? I was at an event last night, a gathering that's come together really informally, partly thanks to the technological possibility that a battery the size of a loaf of bread can power a sound system big enough to put on a party outdoors for hours and hours and hours. And so a bunch of people who have come together through WhatsApp So starting off very separate, starting off very like nebulously and tenuously connected by red, blue and green dots appearing on their phones, and maybe the odd voice note and photograph and bit of text here and recommendation there. A bunch of people took the risk of gathering in a physical location, and each person brought something. Some people brought hula hoops and flow toys, you know, things to dance with. Some people brought music and DJ equipment. Some people brought smoothies. Some people brought a fire pit and firewood. I brought a badminton set, and a giant garden party came together, and it was fantastic. And we had almost no coordination, but we did have a joint purpose: enjoy the sunshine, enjoy each other, and have a good time. What's my point here? It doesn't take a lot to dispel the feeling of separateness, but it does take a kind of dedication, a kind of discipline to keep remembering. You know, remember is the opposite of dismember. You know, dismember means to cut into pieces. Our lives in this modern world tends to cut us to pieces, tends to isolate us, tends to drive us into a mindset of suspicion and pessimism and grind that interferes with our ability to connect, interferes with our belief that connection is possible. It's not only possible, it's the default. Humans connect. So my invitation to you is to remember that as a child, very likely you, like me, used to describe the way that you located yourself, your address, as my house, my street, my town, my country, my planet, my solar system, my galaxy, the universe. And in doing so, you recognized that no human is an island, that interconnection is the default. So remember that, put that back together, and let the opportunities for you to end up dancing and playing with somebody else's percussion instruments in a field, in the sunshine, by battery power, drinking smoothies brought by some other generous soul. Let those opportunities come to you. They're there. You might not be seeing them if you don't believe that they're there. That's a very clever trick that our minds play on us, is that we tend to notice that we believe, and we get confirmation bias. But the same is true in the opposite sense. When you don't believe it, when you believe that you're disconnected, you'll prove that you're disconnected. You're not disconnected. Okay, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy connection. If you've enjoyed this, subscribe, like, tell your friends, and appearing at the end, if you've enjoyed this video, there's a link to another video coming up now. Watch that too. All right, bye for now.